What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Do remember to like and subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification, put it on all so that you get notified of all the latest content. So let's get into this. So again, this is a good weekend of boxing. We talked earlier about the Billum Smith versus Riakporhe. In this one, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. So this is one of those fights where we've got two southpaws coming together. Frank Martin is again good southpaw. He's going to be the slightly taller man here. He's undefeated, and yeah, very good boxer from what I've seen of him. I haven't really followed all of his career, but I've seen some of it. I've witnessed some of it, and yeah, it's been on the most part good. There's been a few fights where he's struggled. But for the most part, he hasn't really put much of a foot wrong in his career. And you've got him going against Gervonta Tank Davis, who people are raving about and really do rate highly. He's a guy that I rate quite highly as well. The only thing with Gervonta Davis for me that I don't rate about him is that he's very selective and careful in his matchmaking. And for me, I don't believe he's for the best available competition in his given weight classes. So at lightweight, I think there was clear guys that had been unified champs, undefeated champions, and he didn't fight any of them, like Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, even George Kambosos Jr., Devin Haney. All these guys had been unified champs at some point. They all unified belts. And Davis didn't fight any of them. He's still yet to fight any of them. The only one is Ryan Garcia, who never was a champion. So Tank Davis, he is a good fighter, multi-division world champion. He does have the skills, and I think, for all we know, he could well be the best in this weight division. But again, due to his careful matchmaking, we're still yet to find out. So I think this is going to be a decent scrap. I think this is going to be for the first half of the fight. I think this is going to be quite close because what I see with the way Gervonta Davis fights is that he's very careful. He's very sort of defensively aware, and he doesn't really like to throw combinations. He doesn't really like to throw any flurries. He likes to just pretty much be patient on the back foot, be defensive, and just wait for you to make a mistake. And then once you make that mistake, he capitalizes with power shots, with a big left hand, big right hook, and he excuse me, that's how he likes to fight. He's a pure counter puncher that never really he doesn't like to make the first move. As much as he's got a reputation of being this big puncher, all those shots he lands are when he draws opponents in, and then he lands his power shot. So when he draws you in and makes you make the first move, you make the mistake, then he lands his power shots and then he takes you out. And that's what he does. So Gervonta Davis, he kind of plays the long game. He waits and waits and waits and waits and waits, and he loses rounds along the way. And he just waits. He makes you miss sometimes, and then when it's time, he lands a shot. And the thing about him, he's got excellent timing. He's a pure counterpuncher, excellent timing, and that's how he always lands those shots. Admittedly, most of the opponents he's been fighting lately, they're quite flat-footed. They're come-forward fighters. They're guys that are really aggressive. So he doesn't have to go looking for them. They go looking for him. And as they go looking for him, he lands the shots on the counter. So in Frank Martin, he's got a little bit of a different proposition. Frank Martin is a southpaw just like him. Frank Martin's he's got good fast hands, fast feet. Sometimes he can square up. That's one of those things I've seen. And there's certain little mistakes he makes with the dropping of his hands at certain points. And I think this is one of those fights where I can see Frank Martin picking up a lot of rounds in his fight. I can see Frank Martin probably being ahead, maybe after 6 rounds or so. But I think as the pace of the fight slows down, that's where I see Gervonta Tank Davis sort of taking over, and then probably taking Martin out a bit late, or maybe just piling up enough points, hurting Martin enough with those lethal counters that he throws to pile up the points and win on points. But I think more than likely what happens is, Martin, he comes forward, he's quite aggressive. I mean, he uses his skills for the first half, but I think as the pace slows down, if Martin gets aggressive, then I can just see Gervonta Davis drawing that mistake from him, and then that counter that he lands being brutal. That's the way I see it going. I think Martin has got the skills and he has got a good chance here to win this fight, but I think of the two of them, Tank is just that level above when it comes to technical skills. I just think he's that level above. I think the way Frank Martin kind of squares up sometimes when he's landing punches, I can just see Gervonta Davis sort of reading the patterns of Frank Martin, getting to grips with his style, and when he makes his mistakes, and I just see Gervonta just landing that counter, hurting, and I think Martin stays hurt, and I think that's the way it goes really. But I reckon that's something that's going to happen later in the fight, because Martin, he's not gonna. I don't think this is gonna be one of those things where he gets taken out early. I think he's too good to be taken out early, and I think his speed of hand and speed of foot is going to give Gervonta Davis trouble, because if Martin's sensible, what he does, you get in, do your work, get out. You keep Gervonta Davis on the end of your jab, throw your straight punches and just try to sort of keep the fight long. Don't allow Gervonta Davis close to you. And if he does come close to you, just sort of tie him up, and then it all has to reset, and then you go back to your boxing again. And I think for me, if you're Frank Martin, that's what you want to do tactically. Just sort of keep the fight long, keep the man at the end of the jab. Keep to the simple basic things you learn in boxing. Just simple ones and twos, ones and twos. Keep that fight long, and don't, because Gervonta Davis, he might be a puncher, he might be a powerful puncher, but he's also a pure counter puncher. So if you can sort of keep him at bay and not allow him that chance for you, where you sort of come in with, and get in his wheelhouse. If you can just keep it nice and long, then I think Martin does have a chance with that. But the way I see this going is probably at some point Frank Martin gets a bit too aggressive, and he may have some success with Gervonta Davis, and then he probably gets greedy and tries to get more aggressive, and that's where I see Gervonta Davis sort of catching him and taking him out. It is a bit of a muddled one, but overall for me, I think this is going to be another victory for Gervonta Tank Davis, and probably another stoppage victory. That's why I think he probably stops this guy late, because I think Martin is gonna probably get ahead, get a lead early, but then it's in the end he's gonna get found out. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. What do you think? Another victory for Gervonta Davis, or do you pick Frank Martin for the upset? Let me know what you think, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out.